There's something I need to tell you and it's going to hurt. At 62, I wake up every morning with a weight in my chest that has nothing to do with my morning coffee or the news headlines. It's the weight of all the words I never said, all the dreams I tucked away in neat little boxes, and all the times I chose safety over the life I truly wanted to live. If you're listening to this and you're anywhere near my age, or even if you're younger, please keep listening, because what I'm about to share could save you from the deepest regret of my life. My name doesn't matter, but my story does, because it's probably more like yours than you might think. For 40 years I was the perfect wife, the devoted mother, the reliable daughter, the helpful neighbor. I wore my roles like badges of honor, never questioning whether they were the roles I actually wanted to play. And somewhere along the way, I forgot that underneath all those titles was a woman with dreams, passions, and a voice that deserved to be heard. The regret I carry isn't about something I did wrong. It's about something I never did at all. I never lived authentically for myself, not even for a single day. Every major decision in my life was filtered through one question. What would everyone else think? What would make my husband happy? What would be best for the children? What would my mother approve of? What would the neighbors whisper about if I dared to step outside the lines I had drawn around my own life? I married at 22 to a man who was perfectly fine, perfectly safe, and perfectly wrong for me. But he was what everyone expected, what made sense on paper, what looked good in wedding photos. I spent 38 years in that marriage, and while it wasn't terrible, it wasn't mine either. It was a life that happened to me rather than a life I chose. When he passed away 3 years ago, I felt grief, yes, but also something I was ashamed to admit, relief. Relief that I could finally, maybe possibly, figure out who I actually was. But here's where the real tragedy begins. At 59, suddenly free for the first time in my adult life, I realized I had no idea who I was. I had been so busy being everything to everyone else that I had never taken the time to discover what brought me joy, what made my heart race with excitement, what dreams lived in the deepest parts of my soul. I was like a stranger to myself, and that stranger was a woman who had spent nearly 4 decades sleepwalking through her own existence. The art supplies I had hidden in the back of the closet for 23 years? They were dried up, useless, a monument to dreams deferred so long they had fossilized. The journal where I used to write poetry in my 20s? I had thrown it away during one of our moves, deciding it was silly and impractical, something a serious wife and mother shouldn't waste time on. The application to culinary school that I had filled out but never sent? I found it last year while cleaning out old files, and I sat on my kitchen floor and cried for an hour. You want to know what my biggest regret is? It's not that I didn't become a famous artist or a celebrated chef or a published poet. My biggest regret is that I never even tried. I never gave myself permission to want something just for me, to pursue something that made me feel alive, to risk looking foolish or selfish or impractical. I spent so many years being afraid of disappointing others that I disappointed the most important person of all, myself. I think about all the conversations I could have had if I hadn't been so worried about saying the wrong thing. I think about the trips I could have taken if I hadn't been so focused on saving money for everyone else's dreams. I think about the friendships I could have cultivated if I hadn't been so busy maintaining the perfect image of who I thought I should be. I think about the woman I could have become if I had just been brave enough to listen to my own heart. But here's what I've learned in these 3 years of finally, slowly, carefully learning to live for myself. It's never too late to start honoring your own dreams, but it gets harder with every year you wait. The voice that tells you to play it safe, to not rock the boat, to think about what others will say, that voice gets stronger and more convincing the longer you listen to it. It becomes so familiar that you mistake it for wisdom when it's actually fear dressed up in practical clothing. I started painting again last year. My hands shake more than they used to, and my vision isn't what it once was. But when I hold that brush, something in me comes alive that has been dormant for decades. It doesn't matter that I'll never be in a gallery or sell a painting. What matters is that for those hours at my easel, I am completely, authentically, unapologetically myself. I am the woman I was meant to be before the world convinced me to be someone else. I joined a writing group 6 months ago, and last week I shared a poem I wrote about my marriage, about the loneliness of living with someone while hiding your true self. The room was silent when I finished, and then a woman my age started crying and said she had lived the exact same life. 3 other women nodded, tears in their eyes, and we all understood that we had been carrying the same secret shame, the shame of never having the courage to be real. If you're listening to this and you're 50, 60, 70, or even 80, I want you to know that it's not too late. It's not too late to take that painting class, to write that story, to take that trip, to have that difficult conversation, to leave that job that's killing your spirit, to end that relationship that makes you feel small, to start that business, to learn that instrument, to say what you really think, to wear what makes you feel beautiful, to dance like nobody's watching because you finally realize that even if they are watching, their opinions matter less than your own happiness. The years ahead of us might be fewer than the years behind us, but they can be so much richer, so much more authentic, so much more alive if we finally give ourselves permission to live them as ourselves. Every day that you choose safety over authenticity is a day that you rob yourself of the joy of being real. Every time you silence your own voice to keep peace, you create war within your own soul. Every dream you defer because it's not practical is a piece of your spirit that withers and dies. I know it's scary. I know that at our age, people expect us to have it all figured out, to be settled, to be content with what we have. But contentment and fulfillment are not the same thing. Contentment is acceptance. Fulfillment is joy. I was content for 40 years. And those were the most miserable years of my life because contentment without authenticity is just another word for giving up. Your dreams at 60 are just as valid as your dreams at 16. Your desires at 70 are just as important as they were at 17. The world might try to tell you that it's too late, that you should be grateful for what you have, that wanting more is selfish or unrealistic. But the world has never lived your life, felt your longings, or carried your unfulfilled dreams. Only you know what would make your heart sing, and only you can give yourself permission to pursue it. I think about my daughter sometimes and I worry that I taught her by example to make herself small, to prioritize everyone else's happiness over her own, to believe that being a good woman means being a quiet woman. I hope she's braver than I was. I hope she doesn't wait until she's 60 to start living her own life. But if she does, I hope she remembers that her mother finally found the courage to be real, even if it took her 6 decades to get there. So here's what I want you to do today, right now, after you finish listening to this. I want you to think about one thing, just one thing that you've always wanted to do but talked yourself out of. Maybe it's something small, like trying a new hairstyle or signing up for a dance class. Maybe it's something big, like writing a book or moving to a different city. Whatever it is, I want you to take one small step toward making it happen today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you have more time or money or courage. Today. Because here's the truth that took me 62 years to learn. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is deciding that your dreams are more important than your fear. Courage is choosing authenticity over approval. Courage is believing that you deserve to live a life that feels like yours. The woman I am now at 62, finally painting again, finally writing again, finally speaking her truth, she wishes she could go back and shake the woman I was at 30, at 40, at 50. She wishes she could tell her that the opinions of others are not worth sacrificing your soul for, that playing it safe is the most dangerous game you can play, that the biggest risk in life is not taking any risks at all. But since I can't go back, I'm telling you that your time is not unlimited, but it's also not over. I'm telling you that it's better to try and fail at something you love than to succeed at something that leaves you empty. I'm telling you that the voice inside you that whispers about dreams and possibilities and what-ifs, that voice is not foolish or impractical or selfish. That voice is the truest thing about you, and it deserves to be heard. My biggest regret is not that I failed at something important. My biggest regret is that I never even tried. Don't let that be your story too. Don't let fear dress itself up as wisdom and steal another day from you. Don't let other people's expectations become the prison bars of your own life. You are braver than you think, stronger than you know, and more deserving of joy than you've ever allowed yourself to believe. The woman you were meant to be is still inside you, waiting patiently for you to remember her, to honor her, to give her the life she's been dreaming of all these years. She's been waiting so long, and she's still there, still hoping, still believing that it's not too late. Don't make her wait any longer. She deserves to finally come alive, and you deserve to meet her at last. Your story doesn't have to end with regret. Right now, in this very moment, you have the power to rewrite the next chapter of your life. The dreams that are stirring in your heart as you listen to these words, they're not too late. They're exactly on time. Because the most beautiful gardens often bloom in the final seasons, when we finally have the wisdom to plant what truly matters. Your authentic self has been waiting patiently in the wings of your life, and she's ready for her moment to shine. Don't let her wait another day. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments below. What dream have you been putting off? What would you do today if fear wasn't holding you back? Your words might be exactly what another woman needs to hear to find her own courage. And if you believe that it's never too late to live authentically, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Together, we can remind each other that our most beautiful chapters might still be unwritten. Thank you for spending these precious minutes with me, and for having the courage to listen with an open heart.